That heavy silence hanging in the air after harsh words were exchanged. The resentment that builds from a forgotten promise. The crushing feeling that you're speaking, but nobody's actually hearing you. You know these moments. We all do, because conflict in relationships isn't optional. It's guaranteed. Whether it's your partner, your parents, your friends, your coworkers, conflict will come. But here's what most people don't understand. The conflict itself isn't the problem. The damage you do during the conflict, that's the problem. And that damage is completely avoidable. Right now, when you argue, what's your goal? Be honest. You're trying to win. You're trying to make them admit they're wrong. You're trying to prove your point. You're trying to make them understand. And how's that working for you? Are your relationships getting stronger? Are people becoming more receptive to you? Are conflicts resolving peacefully? Or are you winning arguments but losing relationships? Proving your point but destroying connection? Being right but being alone? There's a different way, a way that doesn't suppress your emotions or make you a doormat, a way that actually strengthens your relationships through conflict instead of destroying them. The Stoics discovered this framework 2,000 years ago. They faced the same relationship struggles you face: betrayal, misunderstanding, anger, resentment, hurt, and they developed a system for navigating conflict with wisdom and virtue. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to give you that system. 4 protocols that transform how you handle every difficult conversation. A way to respond when you're hurt, angry, or frustrated that doesn't damage what matters most. Stay until the end because I'm going to walk you through a 60-second drill you can use the next time conflict hits. A practical sequence that stops escalation and creates connection. My name is Mind Armor, and this is how you transcend arguments. Let's start with the fundamental problem. Why do most conflicts escalate into damage instead of resolving into understanding? It's because of what you're trying to control. Right now, in the heat of an argument, your entire focus is on controlling them, making them understand, making them apologize, making them change their behavior, making them see it your way. And this is why you suffer. This is why conflicts escalate. This is why relationships break. Because you cannot control them. You never could. You never will. Their words, their tone, their mood, their past, their perspective, none of it is in your control. But you keep trying. And every attempt to control what you can't control creates more frustration, more anger, more pain. The Stoics had a principle for this. They called it the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said it simply: some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. In conflict, here's what's not up to you: their words, their reaction, whether they apologize, whether they understand, whether they change, how they feel, what they believe, their interpretation of events. None of this is in your control. Here's what is up to you: your words, your tone, your ability to listen, your response, your interpretation, your choice to escalate or de-escalate, your decision to seek understanding or to attack. All of this is completely in your control. The moment you stop trying to manage their behavior and focus exclusively on governing your own, everything changes. You reclaim your power. You become the calm in the storm. You stop being reactive and start being responsive. This is the foundation. Every protocol I'm about to give you builds on this principle. You control you. That's it, that's all, and that's enough. Now let me give you the 4 Stoic protocols for conflict. These aren't just tips. These are mental installations, systems you build before the next conflict so they're automatic when emotions run high. Protocol 1, the tactical pause. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Your first and most critical move when conflict arises is to create space, to pause, to interrupt the escalation before it begins. Here's what this looks like practically. You're in an argument. You feel the heat rising. Your heart is pounding. Your face is flushing. Words are forming in your mouth. angry words, words you'll regret. Stop. Do not speak. If you must say something, say exactly this. I need a moment to think before I respond. Then, leave the room. Not dramatically, not angrily. Just leave. Go to another space. Splash water on your face. Focus on your breathing. Give yourself even 60 seconds. Why does this work? Because in that moment of heat, your higher brain functions are offline. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that thinks rationally and considers consequences, has been hijacked by your amygdala. That's the ancient part of your brain designed to keep you alive when threatened. When your amygdala is activated, you're in fight or flight mode. And in that mode, you will say things you don't mean. You will attack, you will defend, you will escalate. You're biologically incapable of having a productive conversation. The pause is a circuit breaker. It gives your prefrontal cortex time to come back online. It prevents the flood of cortisol and adrenaline from making you destroy something that matters. This pause is not weakness. This is the ultimate act of self-command. This is strength. The strongest thing you can do when you're furious is to choose not to speak until you can speak with wisdom. Practice this. The next time you feel anger rising, pause, count to 10, leave the room. Take 3 deep breaths. Don't speak until the heat has decreased.
Comment below right now. I will pause. Make that commitment, because this one practice alone will save relationships. Protocol 2. Isolate the fact from the story. Here's a truth most people never realize. You don't argue over events, you argue over the judgments you layer onto events. The Stoics called these judgments impressions, and they warned us not to accept them so quickly, not to immediately believe the story our mind creates about what happened. Let me show you how this works. Someone is 30 minutes late. That's a fact, a neutral, objective fact. They arrived 30 minutes after the agreed time. But your mind doesn't just register the fact, it immediately creates a story. They don't value my time. This always happens. They're so selfish. They don't care about me. I can't depend on them. Now you're not upset about the 30 minutes. You're upset about the story, about what you've decided it means, about the judgment you've made about their character and your relationship. And here's the problem. The story might not be true. Maybe they got stuck in traffic. Maybe there was an emergency. Maybe they lost track of time because they were dealing with a crisis. Maybe they have ADHD and time management is genuinely difficult for them. You don't know. But you've already decided. You've already judged. And now you're angry about something that might not even be real. The Stoic practice is to separate the fact from the story, to see what actually happened versus what you're telling yourself about what happened. Here's how to do this in real time. When you're upset, ask yourself, what is the bare, neutral fact here? Say it out loud. State it as if you're a journalist reporting objective reality. The fact? They were 30 minutes late. Now ask, what is the story I'm telling myself about this fact? The story? They don't respect me. They always do this. They're inconsiderate. They don't care about me. Now you can see the difference. The fact is small. The story is huge. And most of your pain is coming from the story, not the fact. This doesn't mean the fact doesn't matter. Being 30 minutes late might be a real issue that needs addressing. But you can address it calmly once you've separated it from the catastrophic story your mind created. Try this right now. Think of a recent conflict. What was the actual fact? What was the story you told yourself? Can you see the difference? When you drain the story, you drain the emotional charge, and then you can have a real conversation about the actual issue instead of fighting about imagined meanings. Protocol 4. See the human, not the villain. When someone hurts you, your mind immediately creates a villain narrative. They're selfish, they're cruel, they're thoughtless, they don't care, they're doing this on purpose. This narrative protects your ego, because if they're a villain, you're a victim. If they're bad, you're good. It's simple. It's satisfying. And it destroys relationships. The Stoics practice something different. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that people who wrong him do so out of ignorance, not malice. That they're struggling, flawed humans just like him. He wrote, "Begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. All this is due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil." This isn't excusing bad behavior. This is seeing it accurately. Most people who hurt you aren't trying to hurt you. They're trying to protect themselves, or they're overwhelmed, or they're operating from their own pain, or they genuinely don't understand the impact of their actions. When you see them as a struggling human instead of a malicious villain, something shifts. Your anger softens. Your empathy increases. Your ability to respond with wisdom instead of reacting with rage becomes possible. Here's the practice. When someone upsets you, silently remind yourself, this person is flawed, like me. They're fighting battles I don't know about, like me. They want to be happy and avoid pain, like me. They're doing the best they can with what they know, like me. This doesn't mean you accept mistreatment. It means you respond to mistreatment with clarity instead of rage. You can set boundaries, you can communicate hurt, you can ask for change, but you do it from a place of seeing their humanity, not demonizing them. Try this right now. Think of someone who recently upset you. Can you imagine one struggle they might be facing, one fear they might have, one way they're similar to you? This is incredibly difficult when you're hurt, but it's also incredibly powerful because it's very hard to stay furious with someone you see as a struggling human being. Now, let me show you what to do after a conflict, because most people just sweep things under the rug and hope they go away. This is a mistake. The Stoics practiced evening reflection. Seneca would review his day every night, examining where he acted with virtue and where he fell short, not to beat himself up, to learn, to improve. You need the same practice after conflict. Not immediately, give it some time, but before the day ends, sit quietly and ask yourself 3 questions. Question 1. Where did I act with virtue? Did I pause before speaking? Did I listen well at any point? Did I seek understanding? Did I see their humanity? Acknowledge what you did right. This matters. Question 2. Where did I let a false judgment control me? What story did I believe that wasn't entirely true? What did I assume about their motives without checking? Where did I escalate unnecessarily? Be honest, but be kind to yourself. You're human. You're learning. This isn't about self-criticism. It's about awareness. Question 3. What is one thing I can do to repair? Maybe a simple apology for your tone. Maybe a commitment to listen better next time. Maybe acknowledging something you missed in the heat of the moment. One thing. Small. Specific. Doable. This keeps you moving forward instead of staying stuck in resentment. This evening reflection transforms conflict from damage into growth. Every difficult conversation becomes a teacher if you're willing to learn from it. Now, let me show you the 60-second de-escalation drill. This is what you do the next time tension rises. A practical sequence you can memorize right now. Think of a recent minor conflict. Something small. A moment of tension with someone. Got it? Good. Now, run this drill with me. Step 1. Pause. Take one deep physical breath. Don't just think about breathing, actually do it right now. In through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 2, out through your mouth for 6. One breath. This is your circuit breaker. Step 2. Isolate. Name the pure fact. Say it in your mind. Just the objective truth. Now, name the story you told yourself about that fact. Can you see the difference? The fact is small. The story is huge. Step 3. Humanize. Remember one good quality about this person, one thing you appreciate, one way they've shown up for you, one struggle they're facing that you know about. See them as human, not villain. Do you feel the shift? The anger loses its edge, the defensiveness softens. You've created space for a real conversation instead of a battle. This is you choosing connection over conflict. This is Stoic wisdom in action. Now, commit to using these protocols. The next time conflict comes, and it will come, you'll be ready. You'll pause instead of reacting. You'll separate fact from story. You'll ask questions instead of making accusations. You'll see a human instead of a villain. You'll reflect afterwards and keep growing. This doesn't mean every conflict will resolve perfectly. Some relationships are genuinely toxic and need boundaries or distance. Some people aren't capable of meeting you with the same wisdom. But you'll know you showed up with integrity. You'll know you did everything in your power to transcend the argument instead of winning it. You'll know you chose character over ego. And that matters, because your relationships are everything. They're where you experience love, belonging, meaning, joy. They're what you'll remember on your last day, not the arguments you won, the connections you built and maintained. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." Stop arguing. Start being. Be the person who pauses, who seeks understanding, who sees humanity, who chooses wisdom over rage. That's mind armor. That's Stoic strength. That's how you build relationships that last. Right now, take action. Comment below which protocol you need most. Is it the pause, separating fact from story, curiosity over accusation, seeing the human? Tell me. Make it real by writing it down. And share this video with someone who needs it. Someone who's struggling in their relationships. Someone who's tired of damaging what they love through conflict. Be the person who helps them find a better way. Subscribe to Mind Armor for more practical Stoic wisdom, because this is just the beginning. There's so much more to learn about building unshakable character and meaningful connections. The Stoics believed our duty is to be a source of good for others. And sometimes the greatest good you can do is to choose a thoughtful pause over a thoughtless word. Choose wisely. Choose connection. Choose character. I'll see you in the next video. Stay wise, stay connected, stay strong.